All right. Hey, everyone. Yeah, I'm going to try to keep this a lot shorter than the last one. So let's get right into it. So during Lil Ray's last fashion show, I met the media team, and a couple of us were able to align our schedules and meet up at Grand Central Market. And it was a photographer challenge where each photographer is designated a color, or we chose a color. I, of course, chose blue. So I'm just gonna go through what I've curated from, I think was maybe 100 something shots I took in the evening. To start us off, I was sitting by myself outside of Grand Central Market, and here is a color here is a shot where I incorporated blue. I found some blue. It happened to be on the curb here. I wanted something a little more interesting than just this letter or this address that I'm, and script, something a little more. So this guy ended up sitting there and the moment happened. So that was a pretty simple way to get warmed up for the evening. I think this is the first or second shot that I took. Let's see. Okay, at this point, I believe Sarah and Grant had showed up. They got some beverages, and so I was just kind of hanging out while we were waiting for one more person. And I decided to take this, I don't know, I think it's a classic, just semi-generic photo of Grand Central Market, but you could see how deep it goes. This is from one end to the other. You can see the variety of neon lights within the space. So I thought this was a good opportunity to another way to get warmed up. There is some blue in the photo, so I would qualify it as meets the guidelines of must contain blue. Okay, so here's when things started jumping out at me. When I felt like I was already warmed up, and the blue things started appearing. First off the bat, I shot this through glass. It was a vendor at Grand Central Market that had already closed. And they had I don't know what this, maybe a grease scraper. It's been a while since I worked in the food handling industry, but yeah, it was blue. I kind of like this. I like that I shot through the glass on this one because you can see the reflection of some of the people that were there. These are just people sitting at a bar opposite of this closed vendor. Here's another angle of the grease scraper, which I'm going to call it. It may not be a grease scraper. I don't know. It's plastic, so maybe that's not a good idea. But it's blue. And then I did find more blue in the photo for the foreground. So definitely warming up at this point. This is another angle from where we were sitting while my two friends enjoyed their drinks and we were waiting for one additional person. I think I white balanced it a little cooler just to bring out the blue in the space. But for the most part, I think this is pretty true to color in the moment. But yeah, I guess once again, I think this is what was catching my eye. This ice cold, like obviously blue part of the sign. Yeah, that's why I took that photo. Oh, okay, yeah. So, we were still waiting, and this sign was not running away from me. It just blew all over it. And this little reflection here, that just happened by chance. I pointed my camera to this sign. Just so happened that the way I was positioned in front of this other vendor, it reflected off of their glass case. So yeah, this photo was really nice too. I like it. Yeah, there's Godzilla. But yeah, you can see blue's here. Another opportunity that I think at this point I felt like I was struggling to find more blue things, and this for whatever reason stood out to me. I think in contrast to its surrounding the silver wall, I think it stood out enough. Here was just kind of just an interesting angle that I took of this space. Obviously the blue caught my eye. I was able to put the yellow of a corner of another vendor into the photo to create some more range in the colors. And then someone happened to be exited. I think I was focused here. I think it was pretty close. I was focusing on this person, and then someone had decided to exit. But I think it still makes for a cool photo. This one I'm really excited about. Obviously the content it's great. It's Shohei Ohtani. By Never 1959, a talented street artist. He does a lot of murals. He's done several murals for the Dodgers. This was another one of two. I don't know. He might have several, but I know he also did the Kobe one at the Grand Central Market. But this is the Ohtani one. again, finding ways to incorporate blue. This is the main focus, but I also like to play with the foreground. And so here's another wall that I found that was just another color. I love the brightness of this photo. I love the way my camera captured the color in these photos. And I think the content's pretty simple and it speaks for itself. Here's another blue themed photo. Yeah, I don't know, I kind of took advantage of this leading line, but this is clearly the focus point given the assignment for the evening. And I just like that this scene's still alive. You know, there's still people working. Yeah, it's sharp enough to capture them, as well as aperture is slow enough to get most of it in focus. Yeah, I like this photo. Here's finally another close-up of that ice cold sign. It's blue. Looks like it was inside of a green box, but blue enough for me. A little more of Godzilla. This one I took because of the Delirium can. I am a big fan of Delirium. I don't drink anymore, so if anybody at Delirium could tell whoever's responsible for marketing, put out an NA beer. If I'm not aware of an NA beer, someone please tell me, but I miss having Deliriums. Yeah, if I could have an NA Delirium right now, I totally would. There's another angle of the Delirium can with the neon sign that was illuminating it from the top here. I thought the sign was cool. I think the script of the sign kind of added to the image. Here's just another shot where I feel like I was struggling to find blue, but there was enough blue in the image where you could see why I was taking the photo. But there's also some framing with the scale here, and then some more depth in the background. Try to do as much as I can. I think at this point I was only shooting with I was only shooting with a 50 mil on my Leica. So yeah, I like the compression. I like that there's enough of the environment that you can kind of tell where you're at. I also like that there's a variety of things to take note of. Yeah, I like this. Another fill the frame shot that I've spoken about before, but yeah, I like this photo too. This is another cool shot of a slap tag. This was just on a rail in front of a deli, and the deli was still lit, and it was blue, so it caught my eye, and that's why I took this photo. I do like how soft the background is. I like the compression between the foreground, the subject, the subject and the background. Yeah, I like this photo too. I kind of like that it's almost Dutch, which is kind of that tilt to it. I didn't bother straightening it. I definitely caught the third in one of his eyes, but yeah, this is a cool photo. Here's a cool photo of Sarah and another guy who, when I was watching this scene develop, he just kind of seemed excited to see somebody else with a camera. He wasn't with us. He had some great gear. He's a Leica right here. I think that was a Sony, but Sarah was actually waiting for her husband. But I'm sure would have been plenty happy to talk to the guy about cameras. Now, I would have encouraged him to join us, but I don't know. I kind of, in this moment, I just wanted to observe, and I ended up with this photo. It's cool. Here's an obvious blue photo, Dodgers, Golden Road. I'm sure this person was finishing their shift, hence the Michelada, but yeah, we don't need to focus too much on her. But yeah, it's blue. This one is as we were leaving Grand Central Market. Yeah, I saw the blue AT&T sign, thought maybe I'd be able to make it pop a little more in post, but it's something blue. Another fill the frame shot. Here's the crew I went with. Here's Grant, here's Uma, here's Sarah. I met these two at Lorraine's fashion show. A fashion show hosted, directed. The whole thing was all put on by Lorraine. And she found all of these talented people to come together and that were inspired by her and wanted to work for her and work with her. And so, yeah, I'm glad that at the very least that this opportunity came of that. And I look forward to working with Lorraine again. But I think this is a cool shot just of the group I was with their gear. No one really caring that their photo's being taken. I think this is cool. Yeah, here's a little switch up with Uma throwing up the deuce. I like this photo. Yeah, I like. So there's a series of these photos. So it's 1, 2, Yeah, 1, 2. There was 3, but I think I decided just to curate these 2. 1, because of the La Cita sign is in focus, and then 2, we got Grant here completely in focus and splitting the sign here. I like to create symmetry wherever I can, so I kind of crouched down and got to this position so that he was directly in the middle of the sign La Cita. This was an interesting shot that I decided to include in the album. This is that little like old taco stand that's next to La Cita, and it is barred off, but you can walk into it. And so I saw this piece of work. I know Uma has been she's been wanting to test out her flash, so I took this as an opportunity to kind of demonstrate what we could do with flash. I set the flash up the other side of this bar wall facing this street art here, and then just triggered it from the outside. 45-degree angle, yeah, I don't know. I like the framing. I like the way the light hits the wall, but then there's a separation with the foreground. Yeah, I think it's a cool photo. This is a guy that got Uma's attention. This is like shortly after Uma had figured out her flash, and as he was riding by, Uma kind of just did a quick little burst of shots, and he got excited to have his picture taken, which it was a fun little interaction. But he decided to come back and ask for his photo taken. He did give me his Instagram, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. But it's just a cool interaction, and so I decided to include this photo with the story. I didn't even notice this guy back there, but that's kind of cool too. This is a misfire of Sarah as she was crossing the flash. I think I have his flash set up on a cable box of some sort, and yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it. This is a cool shot of Grant. I think this is where I had the light pointing towards Grant. This kind of gives me like old school like skater vibes, So I like that, and I like this one especially. I think he's given a cool expression, and that it's like an attitude that matches the lighting. I like it's coming from a lower angle. It's coming from one side, and it kind of overpowers the ambient light. But the highlights are still soft on him, and I think this is a cool photo. Yeah. This photo there's nothing blue in it. I kind of just took it because my wife and I actually used to live not too far from this little crosswalk, and I have never noticed it. It's directly across from the entrance of Mrs. Fish and Perch. From where I was standing at that point in time was the first time I ever noticed this mural at the top. So I decided to take a photo of it. Yeah, I think it's cool. This is later in the evening, so this is after we left Grand Central Market. We were making our way around past Pershing. Yeah, I just like the way this scene was lit. I like how you can see clearly into the kitchen area of the food truck. I like that there's this can. It's a can and this complete shadows right here, and then yeah, you would think that this was a Hollywood lit scene just based on the scene I was able to capture. I think it's pretty cool. Here's another photo just past that food truck. I believe this is Olive, but what I like about this photo is that I caught the sign, the bus stop sign, sharp, as well as its reflection in the bus. So, and there's a little bit of blue, so I can give myself some points for that. But yeah, definitely a cool shot of a reflection. Yeah. This is another shot that I got from the street. I'm not sure which, this might be the Tory Bank building, but either way, there's blue in this photo, which is why I took it. Kind of stood perfectly, the perfect amount of distance away from the window, so I could get that framing. The escalator was lit well enough to actually be kind of appealing, but I think for the assignment, and I think I nailed this one for sure. Here's another one I think I nailed because of the blue signing. I know the blue in the sign. I know that the blue's getting kind of dull, but I think that just kind of adds to the challenge. You know, you can obviously get the ones that pop, but then I think these ones, the way that I shot them, are just as interesting as if this blue was like directly in the sunlight. Yeah, I like the way these two signs intersect and that the sign is blue. Here's one that I got completely lucky. Yeah, I ended up auto white balancing this, and that kind of brought out more blues in the lights in the windows. But obviously the cool part about this photo is that somebody was walking by as the shutter dragged, and we got 3 perfectly outlined steps of them walking through it, as well as a car driving by. Yeah, this photo is cool. It speaks for itself for sure. Yeah, here's another angle of that same building. Yeah, I repositioned the lines to lead down this direction instead. And yeah, I think at this point we're just kind of winding down. I figured, why not just take a cool photo, a low angle cityscape photo. Actually, you can see Uma across the street there waiting for everybody to get back together. I think we're all at different corners at this point. Oh, but there's blue here. There's some blue in there. Give me credit. Oh, that's it. Yeah, so that was fun. That was an album that I curated as part of the Storytellers Get Together Challenge, whatever you want to call it. But shout out to Uma, shout out to Sarah and Grant. Kudos to those guys for making the journey, and I hope we do it again. And I hope you guys enjoy this. Appreciate you.